Good day, poker peeps. This is Sky with Smart Poker Study, and I'm going to help you have a reason and choose the perfect raise size for every pre-flop raise. We've got a hand right here. Villain 21 has pocket kings. What a lovely starting hand. So, couple of folds. Villain 19 open raises to 2 big blinds, 63/38 player. So far, raising first in 3 out of 3. He has folded 1 out of 1 to 3 bets though. Villain 20 folds. Now, Villain 21, he looks down, pocket kings. I'm sure he's loving this hand. He has to ask himself, do I want them, Villain 19, to fold or to continue? And what size will do the trick? Well, he obviously wants value, I would believe, with the pocket kings. He doesn't want to raise and just take it down right now, right? He needs to raise enough to get that value that he's looking for with these pocket kings. But what size does he make it? Oh, just 5 big blinds. That doesn't feel big enough in a full ring micro stakes 10NL game to get value. Maybe he made it this small because he's folded to 3 bets in the past, but no. In the micro stakes, you have to get value while the getting's good. You've got kings. 5s is just way, or 5 big blinds is just way too small. As a matter of fact, a couple of folds, and then me, he doesn't know who I am, right? It's only been 8 hands at the table, but I'm a tight aggressive player. I don't make these kinds of calls willy-nilly right here. I have a good reason, and he just made it way too cheap and easy to make the call. We'll reveal my hand a little bit later on here. Villain 19, boom, probably a very easy call, especially after I called. So I guarantee he missed out on value. When you make it a 3-bet size, that just makes it too easy for your opponents to call. He missed out on at least 1, 2, 3, even 4 big blinds, potentially. Well, and times 2, he missed out on maybe 8 big blinds of value right here. Let's see what happens on the flop. Jack, deuce, 6, a check, a check. He comes out firing. I like this size, actually, trying to get value, 2/3 pot. And then, oh, this player, hero, myself, I check raise right now. Action is back on Villain 19. He folds, gets out of the way. Villain 21 decides, well, I have a pretty decent enough hand. Let me shove all in. And then hero, of course, ends up calling at this point because hero actually hit the pocket deuces for the set on the flop. Now, here's the thing. That initial raise size at just 5 big blinds for the 3-bet is just way too little to get me to fold when I can set mine and we had plenty of chips left in the stack behind. If he would have made it 9, sure, I might have folded. He might have folded as well, but at least he would have taken that pot down and didn't cost himself almost a full stack right here unnecessarily. You got to get value while the getting's good. Let's take a look at this next hand. Our villain has king, queen offsuit as a 58-32 player, a limp, couple of folds, and I decide to ISO raise to 3 big blinds, maybe trying to get this player heads up, maybe not wanting to limp, just to show weakness to let this 58-32 player who's 3-bet in the past push me out of the pot. But also, I make it small like this because I know players like this, these loose, aggressive, almost gambler kind of maniac players, when they 3-bet, they don't think about the size. If he's going to bluff me, he's not going to make it big enough to get me to fold. If he's betting for value, he's not going to do that either. And then look what he actually does right here. He makes it only 5 big blinds with a king-queen offsuit. Maybe he's just raising on the come, hoping for something to happen. But the key idea here is when you want to take it down, which I'm assuming he kind of would be happy taking it down right now, you have to raise enough to make them fold. King, queen offsuit, 5 big blinds is not enough, especially when we already have a guy who limped in. He's in position against you. It only costs him 4 more big blinds. There's a very good chance he's going to call, and he does. And then me, I called because it's only 2 more. You're never getting me to fold. Like I said, maybe he's betting on the come, hoping a king or a queen hits. He's raising now to hopefully build a pot for later on, but that's not a good enough reason. In poker, you do not bet or raise on the come. You have a specific reason to do it. You're either value betting, bluffing them off, or you're trying to isolate them. And we'll talk about isolating in just a little bit. So flop comes down ace 7-5. Hero checks. Villain makes it 10.7, roughly 2/3 pot, just like we saw in that last hand. And I actually like this bet as a bluffing bet. You are the 3-better. You're repping that you have ace king, ace queen, ace jack, something like that. Totally like this play right here. We get a fold. And then, a check raise to 3x, a little over 3x his size. Now, here's the thing. He decides to shove. Maybe he just says, screw it, I'm not giving up with my backdoor flush and backdoor straight draw. Maybe that's what it was. But maybe he was thinking I might be able to fold. Let's look at that bet sizing. I checked, I made it over 3x, committing 2/3 of my stack. And then your raise, Mr. Villain, is less than double my size. There's no way he expects me to fold right now, which would be, he'd be really happy with that. But there's no way any player would be folding after this right now. So what happens? Hero, of course, ends up calling his all-in shove, and then Hero had the ace-5 for a flop 2 pair. And then, well, just kind of a waste of chips right there, but it all started with that terrible pre-flop play of raising without having a really good reason why he's raising, and not a good size as well. So let's talk about reasons and sizes. First off, you want to steal the pot. You want to bluff them with your raise size. I recommend 3-bet bluffing to 9 big blinds or more. Here's an example of my own 3-bet bluff with ace-queen offsuit. Couple of folds, raising it to 3 big blinds, raising first in 43% of the time. He's folded plenty of times in the past, 2 out of 2. Awesome. Let's 3-bet. Let's make it 3 out of 3. And it works. We made it 9 big blinds. If I was out of position over here, I'd probably go 10, 11, or 12 big blinds to really send the message that even from out of position, we have a strong hand and he should be folding. Another reason to be making a raise is you want value with your best hands. Now, if that's the case, when you're 4-betting, we got an example of that with pocket kings over here, you want to go 3x or greater, depending on what his 3-bet size was. We get a fold. I open for just 2 big blinds, trying to entice this player, so I'm making a 3-bet. And he obliges, but only to 6 big blinds. So he's folded to 3-bets in the past. I don't want to go up too big, 24, 25 big blinds right here. I'm just trying to get value, right? You want him to continue. What can give you that value? I chose 3x plus 1 big blind. I made it 19 right here. And then what does he do? He might see this as weakness. Hopefully, that's what he sees it as. And he comes over the top, boom, and shoves. I got exactly what I wanted. We're all in pre-flop with pocket kings versus his pocket jacks right here. So he had a hand good enough to do it. But you could imagine he could have made this play with pocket 9s trying to bluff me off, pocket 8s, ace king, ace queen as well. Ace 5 suited might have felt that this was a good opportunity to bluff me versus that only 19 big blind 4-bet right here. And then we end up taking that down. We get max value because we raised pre-flop to a size that could give us that value. Now, the last example, another reason to raise is you want to isolate the weak raiser. This is with a 3-bet specifically. Once again, you want to 3-bet to 9 big blinds. Let's see what happens here. 58/50. He's been raising first in 56% of the time. 5 out of 9. Maniacal, probably a gambler player. We could give him the purple gambler color here. We get a fold. And then so what do? We've got ace queen suited. There's no way I'm just going to go 5 big blinds like we've seen some of our opponents make it, right? And I don't see any real need to go too big to 12 or 15 big blinds. When I have the best position, I have a very strong hand. I simply go to 9 big blinds. In his view, this could be a bluff. It could be for value, but I have a very strong hand. I'm in position, and I know players like this. They don't like folding to 3-bets. 0 out of 3. He's going to call with every ace that I'm ahead of. He's going to call with king, queen, king, jack, queen 10. He's going to call jack 10, 7, 6 suited. So many things that we're theoretically getting value from right now. So this is, and if he folds, I'm actually happy if he folds right now. So it's a bluff / isolation / theoretical value raise. Couple of folds and he calls. Okay, let's go to the flop. And here's one good thing about isolating a player like this. And by making it 9, we actually get these two players more easily. We get them out of the pot, get him heads up to ourselves. He folds to c-bet 67% of the time. An even better reason to raise him, because if we hit nothing on that board, it comes 9 high, he checks, we're going to c-bet bluff him. Ace 3-9, ooh, top pair, lovely kicker. No flush draw available. We're really liking this one right here. We come in for just half pot. Because he folds so often, we don't really want him to fold. We want him to happily stick around with ace jack, ace 10, ace deuce, ace 5, even a 9. 10-9 could have called us pre-flop. We want him to stick around with a second pair hand. What does he do? He calls. Lovely. The jack comes. He checks. We got to bet again for value, right? Like I said before, get value while the getting's good. Pre-flop, you're making good raise sizes to get that value. Post-flop, you're making strong bets to get value out of what you hope right now is an ace. He just calls us. Pot is 86, 143. He only has 57 behind. The 7 hits. Hopefully he didn't just turn or river 2 pair on us, right? But he checks. We put him all in. We just won all of his chips. We hope he has an ace that he cannot fold. He calls and he turns over the ace deuce. We're loving that result, and we got all of his chips because we ISO raised him to a smart size pre-flop, and we bet for value, flop, turn, and river to get this kind of player, the loose, aggressive gambler type player, to get him to give us all of his chips. So now I want you to take action. Know what you want before you raise. Are you bluffing? Are you getting value? Are you ISO raising? Consider your opponent and their potential range of folding, calling, and re-raising hands. And then lastly, choose a raise size that gets you what you want. If you're 3-betting, 9 big blinds or more, 4-betting, 3x or more. And if you're 3-bet bluffing, I highly recommend a minimum of 24 big. I'm sorry, 4-bet bluffing, highly recommend a minimum of 24 big blinds. It really sends the message that you have the goods, pocket aces, kings, and pocket queens. Alrighty, thank you so much for watching. Please like the video if you liked the video. Leave a comment down below, and I'll see you in the next one.